Greetings friends, welcome back to the channel. I'm Ever. Today I want to talk about all the decks that I want to work with in 2024. I was looking at and thinking about all the decks that I don't really use very often. I know I mentioned pretty much all of them in my VR2 Candies video decks that I don't use. So I wanted to look at my collection and see, like, with the theme of the year and looking at what I haven't been using, do I want to use those decks? Do I want to let go of those decks, etc., etc. So I grabbed a couple, I have to be realistic. I can't work with them all. And if I choose too much, then I just won't work with any of them. I tend to be really messy in the way that I work with decks. That is to say that, like, I don't set what I'm going to work with weekly or monthly. Like, I try to do that and it doesn't usually work. So sometimes I'll have like a more of a general outline as opposed to a like set, list of decks. Anyway, so today I have 3 tarot and 4 oracle that I'm thinking about working with this year. Oh god, I should have had 4 and 4, huh? Maybe we'll add a 4th tarot at the end just to make it an even 8 for the year. But yeah, so let's just jump in. The first deck that I'm going to share is the tarot, the Ritual Tarot. I got this in the recent Kickstarter, the marked edition, and I've been working with it here and there. Oh, honestly, I haven't received this card in a reading, but I find it so beautiful. Let me see if I can zoom in here. It's so stunning. I love it actually so much. But yeah, this deck, it's really stunning and there's so much like packed into it. But I think what video was it that I talked about? It might have been my top 10 decks for 2023. But I talked about how like I tend to struggle with collage decks, and I think getting this deck made me realize that. And or not made me realize, but it really solidified that, and it was just like, wait, this is a common experience that I have, and I love them, like, creatively, aesthetically, like, I'm a big fan. But then when it comes to working with them for readings, there's just something about it that I tend to struggle with, reading wise. So I'm hoping to continue to find uses for this deck. I've already folded it into a practice with Anubis, actually. And so I'm really hoping that that turns out well. It's been going well so far. I just did a reading, what day is it? 2 nights ago. So, it's been working out really well. But, I think there really has to be like a dedicated reason for me to work with this deck. I don't feel like it's good for like any old reading. I want to try it for daily draws. I'm definitely planning on making my video on decks for daily draws that have worked for me, that I've enjoyed, just to give folks, maybe some ideas who may be looking for decks to use in that capacity. But yeah, this deck is just, it's really stunning. Oh yeah, I got this. Oh my goodness. I got this card in a recent reading that was quite strenuous. But like, it was perfect, but also still kind of, I struggled to like get it. I don't know what it is about collage decks. They're so freaking stunning and amazing, but like they just don't click in my brain in the same way as far as like intuition. But that's not always a bad thing. I think this would be a great card for meditating. I mean, a great deck for meditating with cards. Like I said, I want to try it for daily draws as well. I think it would be beautiful for that. But when it comes to like mundane readings, like it's just not a thing. It's just not a thing. Like, I feel like it has to deal with bigger things. I tried it for a little bit of like divinatory reading of like timeline of some things, and that has yet to unfold, so we shall see. But yeah, I want to work more with the deck and really see if I can make my way with it, and just really, I don't know, like I'm kind of committed to making this deck work. You know how I am. Like I said, when I get a deck in, I'm just like, it's gonna freaking work out. But deeper than that general stubbornness, this deck, I really want to make it work. So not even just make it work. Like, I just want to work with it and have fun with it and just explore it. You know, I feel like it's a great thing to explore. I haven't edged it. I want to edge it in black, but then it might be nice to edge it in gold. It has a lot of blue. It's like a very blue deck, which I find really interesting to me. It just has a very blue, like I think of like the High Priestess. Like there's just blue. That's not a good example. I just feel like there's a lot of blue, you know? Folks who have this deck, like, and who have seen it, like, don't you get just like a very blue vibes from it? You know, it's very blue to me. But anyway, maybe that's just a thing with collage decks, because the Ancestral Healing Tarot is very blue as well. But the Telesma is not, for obvious reasons. But yeah, that is the Ritual Tarot, a deck that I really would like to work with in 2024. Let's switch back and forth from tarot to oracle. So next we're going to bust out the Portals of Presence. So this is a very beloved deck. I really love this deck. I think it's quite beautiful. I'm just gonna zoom out a little because this deck's quite big. Sorry for my lighting. I hope it's not too bad. I've been struggling with lighting lately. I just can't seem to make it like perfect. But yeah, these are the backs. Yeah, I have like my light over there. Queasy. Okay, so this deck, if you're creeped out by like faces, this may not be the deck for you. You might want to skip past this one, but yeah, that's a little bit much. But anyway, yeah, I did this thing, I want to say it was the top of 2023, where I did this like council idea. And here she is. This was like a grandma vibes to me. She's just like so sweet, and just like she's not gonna judge you. She's just gonna comfort you and like give you a blanket and just like feed you and just, not judge you, just love you. But anyway, and this one. Anyways, before I get into all these folks that I apparently have the relationships with, I did this council thing, and it was really wonderful. This is like one of my favorite cards. It was the card that like really drew me to this deck. Like because it's like a flower. But yeah, so what was I saying? I did this council thing where I created like a council of these entities, right? And I read, I love this one. I read for each of the council members, and I wanted it to be, and I had them like, I believe, up on my wall for a while, but I didn't end up working with this council in the way that I expected. I wanted it to be a sort of like, I like to use these cards as guardians and sort of like holding the space and sort of to work with one guardian at a time. But I thought maybe I could work with the council for the year, but I didn't end up doing that. And so I thought maybe this year I could try to do it on an ongoing basis instead of predetermining the entire council, just pulling, a card for every like full moon maybe. And then that would create my council naturally. And that way I would get to have a moment with each of the guardians or council members and really be able to spend time with them. Because I think that's the beauty of this deck, is really connecting with each entity on each card. And I take it very literally, this deck. Like I don't know, it's just, for me, I'm not reading for any particular thing. I'm here to meditate and connect with the energy that is on each card and be able to glean something from that, be able to see something from that, see into it, and to connect, to make a connection, I think see is probably my best way of describing it. But yeah, I would love to work with this deck this year in a different way. And if you have any ideas, I should probably look up some videos to see like what other folks have done with this deck. If you have any ideas, definitely pop them in the comments down below. I would absolutely love suggestions. I know in the past I've gotten suggestions for decks and they've been really, really cool. So I'm really thankful to you guys. So if you have anything, definitely send it my way. But yeah, that's my vibes with the Portals of Presence. And actually, let me stop acting like the guidebook. Well, it's not really a guidebook, but like the book doesn't have suggestions for how you can work with them, and as if I didn't study expressive arts therapy, so I should know how to work with them. Yeah, one among a circle of beings. So that's I think what I did. But yeah, so there's definitely, I should definitely come back into this and get some ideas from here. But still, send me anything you have as well. Next, we have the Wheel of Change Tarot. This is an indie deck. I have not been saying whether they were mass market or indie. I generally tend to not do that, I realize. But the Portals of Presence is mass market, and the Ritual is indie. This is also an indie deck. I just recently trimmed it, so I haven't edged it yet. But this deck had like colorful borders, and I couldn't get on with the borders. Like, it's a beautiful, stunning deck. The artwork is just really lovely. God, I did not realize this like intense bright like sun in the middle. I really love this card because there are blossoms in it. But yeah, this deck is really, I feel like it's really, I was going to say subversive, but then we have a very not subversive Hierophant. Not, I mean, not very not, but you get the point. It's, you know, whatever. Point is, I recently trimmed it. So it's watercolor. And if you can see, each card has a border painted, and then it had another border. So like it's painted in. There's like a border around the title, and then there's a border around painted around each image. And so I love the backs. What, I don't even know, what have I said so far? What am I trying to say? So I recently trimmed it is the point. And it has these borders. And so I tried to keep these like tiny painted borders, but get rid of like the other border that was on it. So now there's like a micro border on each one. You can kind of see it when you go like that. But yeah, it's a wonderful deck, and some of the meanings are non-traditional, as you can see, or I should say the illustrations are not super traditional in every card that comes up, and it's been already easier to read from without the borders. I find that so interesting how a deck will read differently with the borders and without the borders. Rio, you're not coming up here today. Not after what happened last video. Come sit right here. Yeah, I find it really interesting that a deck will read completely differently once you take the borders off. It still amazes me to this day. Like, I just can't, it doesn't make sense that like, but it does also, because it's visually different, and reading cards is a very visual thing. But yeah, this deck, there's a lot of depth in this deck. It has a very extensive guidebook, which I have digitally, and I just really love when a deck has its own language and tells its own story that goes outside of tradition, but is very well thought out. Like, there's just so much to read in this deck, and it just seems extremely thoughtful. And I haven't read the entire guidebook cover to cover, but I have read for almost like every reading I do. I work with the guidebook, so that's been really great. But it's been a while since I've picked up the deck, until recently, where I was like finally decided to, yeah, this card hit me different actually recently, because the Six of Swords, we usually have our image of, the person on the boat and going away. So we have the Gaisha. Are those geese or ducks? They're flying away. That we also have this deer here, who has been hunted and shot. Looks like there's an arrow. Hopefully they're already gone. Sorry, I hope this image is not too disturbing for folks. But it's just and then we have a sunset in the background. And I just find it, and gosh, I haven't even finished my sentence. And then we have like this pool here. And I want to say these are like stones and like spearheads, it looks like. I'm not exactly sure. Let me know if you know. I haven't read the guidebook yet, but you have the stars here and this reflection. And I don't know, I just find it to be a very compelling image. There's so many aspects to look at. What really caught my attention well, what really stuck out to me that made me think was, of course, the death of this deer and a sort of letting go and moving on that is involved with that. But then we have this like first person perspective of the person who killed this deer, and it makes me think like what's going through their head, what are they doing, you know, who are they, and what does this experience mean to them, you know. So I just find it a really great deck also to meditate with and to really I know folks path work or journey with, and I think that's something that will be really amazing to do with this deck. It seems like that's a theme with kind of where a different way that I want to work with decks this year, and I'm really excited about that. I've been, you know, really digging into my decks on a lot deeper of a level, and I'm really enjoying that. But yeah, this is the Wheel of Change. Yeah, I got this card actually today. It's a very cosmic deck. Cosmic, cultural, really amazing. Oh, this card. Like, it's very intense without being like in your face or like aggressive, you know? There's a lot to see. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So cool. I love that there's so much like point of view in this deck. There's a lot of play with the perspective that you're seeing things from, which makes a lot of sense for the title of the deck as well. And I really like this Temperance card. I think it's pretty amazing. I actually want to read the guidebook. Temperance has been really on my radar recently. But yeah, I won't show you the entire freaking deck. There's still a lot to go. But let me know what you think I should edge this deck. I think I might go with red, for obvious reasons. But maybe orange. No, it's got to be red, right? It's got to be red. We'll see. Anyway, I wanted to try also like not corner rounding the edges. And so hopefully I enjoy that. It's a little pokey, but like I've never tried it. And so I want to try it. So yeah, that's the Wheel of Change tarot. Next, we're going to look at the Beyond Lemuria Oracle cards. This, the full size was one of, you know, a deck that I got early on since I started reading reading cards, and it was really instrumental in my practice at the time, and so it's been quite a while, and so I wanted to see if I could potentially pick it back up if it had, especially with me having a moon year this year, trying to see if there's some work that can be done. The cardstock's a little bit annoying, so I tend to try to work with the pocket size deck. Oracle size just tends to be too large, and with this cardstock it's just a little too unwieldy, and because the art is all different sizes, they're sort of cropped into the image into the card differently, so it's not like I can really trim it unless I want to like lose the artwork, which I don't. I guess I could, no, I was gonna say I could cut the titles off, but then it would just be hard to tell what each thing is. But maybe I could give it a try, because that's at least one like way that I could cut the deck without losing the artwork. I guess if I cut the borders, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it's a beautiful deck. I find it just really comforting, really supportive, really inspiring, and just a really sweet and beautiful deck, and it's very nourishing, I would say, is the way that I would describe the deck. So I'm really hoping to rediscover a connection and use for it at this time. So yeah, that is the Beyond Lemuria. Oh my gosh. And this character here reminds me of if you've seen Lilo and Stitch, it reminds me of the queen lady. I just feel like the shape just looks like her. But she doesn't look as kind as this one, if I remember correctly. But anyway, yeah, that's Beyond Lemuria. In case you haven't seen the pocket deck, I'll also just show that really quick. It has the image and the like a quick little snippet of what the guidebook talks about on the back, and so it's really wonderful. I tend to use this one and then go to the guidebook if I want more, which I usually do because I'd really like to read the whole thing. But I think it's well summarized on this one because like it fills up the entire card. Like, you know, it's not like they're just trying to like give you nothing. You know, they're like, we'll give you as much as we can give you. You know, as much as can fit on the back. And they do. So I really appreciate that about it. And yeah, so that is and it's so beautiful. Oh yeah, did I edge this one? Yeah, I did. See, yeah, you can tell I use this one. I edged it in a few of like a purple, blue, green, orange, I think. I did like a light purple and a dark purple, but yeah, I think it's really, really nice one. All right, let's pull a little card real quick for us here. It's a little message for us. Let's see. Here we go. Starseer. Let's see. Let's look at the Starseer. I've gotten this card quite a bit. I love this person on the ladder here, and then their hand being held. It says, have you ever headed toward a specific destination, but instead of it being where you ended up, the journey was a catalyst for getting you where you were meant to go? Have you ever felt nothing was working out as planned, but then it came together perfectly? This card depicts intuition as a goddess lifting us to see where we are going and the star she sees in us. The journey may not go as planned, but the outcome is better than you thought possible. Let the serendipities unfold, allow space for unexpected opportunities. Even when the route is not as direct as you imagined, listen to your intuition and know you've got this. I love that. That's us on the little ladder. Cool. And my nails match. So a little sweet little card there for us. Okay, and next tarot is the Orisha Tarot. The box is huge, you know, Llewellyn, big boxes. What is this? Oh, yes, I was studying. And that's actually the reason that I want to work with this deck. So I started a little study with it, and I did not get very far. I think I had just read through the majors, and I don't know, but didn't get far. Look at this guidebook. Let me zoom out so you can see this guidebook. This guidebook is hams. I don't even know what that means. I think that's a thing, but it's huge. What are we looking at? How many pages? Literally goes to the last possible page. 354 pages. I mean, you can feel the thickness. It's heavy. But anyway, so here's the deck, which is so interesting because in my what video was it? Oh, my Primal and Primordial was when this deck came out to play. And it paired quite well with the Beyond Lemuria deck. At least I thought so. So we can zoom back in now. Nope. So yeah, the deck was... it was really awesome to work with, just as a nice introduction to the Orisha and to the spiritual community surrounding them. And so it was really wonderful to learn about that. I really want to rotate this deck in as a more serious reader in my rotation. So I want to complete reading through the guidebook. I don't have a current plan in place, but this is something I want to do by the end of the year, is my plan. This is really interesting. I didn't even think to read the moon from here. And it caught my eye before I could even realize it was the moon. I wasn't even looking down. I was looking through the viewfinder. And you couldn't really see the title, so that's interesting. I love this priestess card. One of my faves. This world card. The marketplace. Yeah, I feel like I learned so much and it opened up like it was like a gateway to learning so much more. And so I'm really excited about that, to get back into that and to allow it to lead me to other studies and lead me to other explorations. I'm super excited about that. So I don't know if there's much more to say about why I want to work with it other than that. I really want to incorporate it more into my practice on a regular basis. So I really love the artwork too. I think it's really, really cool. I love how just like raw it feels and how energetic it feels. And I love that the backgrounds of all the cards have so much meaning, and there's so much meaning in like the colors. So it's definitely an extremely special deck, and so I look forward to getting to know it better. Look at that. I mean, like, whoa. I'm going to look at that real quick. Let's look at that real quick. I feel like I've definitely read this entry before. Okay. 7 of Cups. Let's just read this real quick. In the 7 of Cups, we run into problems of perceptions and ambiguity. Things are rarely what they seem, and what we find when we close our cup is rarely what we thought. When we choose our cup, is rarely what we thought. It is a card of illusions and the emotional fallout that comes with realizing we've been duped. In the Odu Iroshun, we encounter the proverb, "The hole is dug." It is a simple saying with deep ramifications. In negative situations, it is said to be the grave. Yikes. Which raises the question of who dug this hole, and is it our time to go into it? Often with this proverb, it is our actions that will determine the outcome. If we are going to dig holes, the only thing that's clear is that we never really know what we might find. With this card, we often find both treasure and loss at the same time, leaving us to wonder if it was worth the cost. Is that all we have? Okay, yes. I was going to say I'm surprised because I'm pretty sure this deck is very... I think so. Every card has... This is what I love about the deck as well in the guidebook. Every card has symbolism, so it talks about the important symbols and divining and solutions. So it's like if you're reading this deck to look for a very specific solution, I just really like that it has that. So it depends on the lens with which you're reading, what messages are going to be the most salient for you. So we have the hole, which we cannot see the bottom of, the dirt, which could fill the hole, a shovel left behind, and mystery. So which one of those sticks out to you? And it says, when we see this card, we should talk about what the person is looking for and whether it is theirs to get. Oh, yikes, yikes, yikes. This deck is so honest and direct. That's what I love about it. And I feel like that gives us insight into the Orisha as well. From what I've learned, they're just very no nonsense. It's not like heed the message is definitely what I get from them. The person getting the reading's motivations are likely a mystery to themselves. Even if you are able to know them, they might not thank you for telling them. Yeah. Here, curiosity is unlikely to be rewarded with anything but a place in the bottom of the hole. Curiosity about others' business, mysteries with no solutions, promises of riches that turn into tears. There's something unknowable in the situation. People's pasts might be darker than expected. And solutions are mind your own business. Do not look in holes. Plan for the unexpected. And do not believe what others are trying to sell you. My difficulty with this deck is what in the heck am I going to do to remember all of these very interesting guidebook entries? I want to read this deck how this deck was intended to be read. I don't think it's really fully possible to see it in a Rider-Waite-Smith sense or even in a Thoth sense per se. It's just very out there. This 8 of Swords is different, but look at this. This is what I mean. I bet this card is going to have symbolism around the black and white background and what is showing up behind this figure. So I really love that. So not only are we looking at what's here, tend to look at the background. This one we didn't really look at the background, but the ones that have a more flat background with something there, that it's definitely, there's so much symbolism. So yeah, that is the Orisha Tarot. I love the back. Still also haven't edged it. Probably will do red. It's a lot of red going on. See, that's the thing. When a bunch of decks are wanting to be edged in the same color, I get like I said, very stubborn. Can be very stubborn if you haven't noticed. And I'm I don't want to do it red. So what will I do? But like, what else is there? I could do black, but like, black is boring. Like, I don't be wanting to do black edges because it's just like it's just not as fun. I mean, like, yeah, it's like perfect because then you just get to like see the, you know, the black edges and they're just so crisp and black, but at the same time, it's just black edging. If I did red, that's so much cooler and nicer to look at, you know? But I guess I could do a random color, but then when the back is just that red, I don't know. I don't know, guys. Anyways, we have next we have definitely a deck that I showed up with in my oh yeah, wait. Oh yeah, someone told me to put it upside down. See, you guys' suggestions are perfect, so there we go with that. But 2 guidebooks, kind of excessive, not gonna lie, but anyway, it's fine. Literally have not touched this deck since the last time you all saw it on my decks that I freaking don't use. So all these cards that I have yet to freaking add the titles on, that's what I'm gonna freaking do this year. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, so this deck doesn't have any keywords on the deck. So I have gone in and added them myself, and I've tried to add them with color appropriate Sharpies that sort of blend in. I've tried to put them in places that are sort of aesthetic and not like too boring. This one's not my best work, but that's okay. So I've tried to do that for every single card, and I'm just gonna it's a little too close, but yeah. So you know, here we have value. What does that even say? Perceiving worth, hidden. What does that say? See, that's another issue. Places, individuality. Does that say places? Oops. Anyway, so I haven't done it to all of the cards yet. I've used the keywords that are in the books. So in the books, they have like, right in the beginning, all of the cards are organized by like season. And then they have like a few keywords that are associated. So they all have that. But then, and this is the Dusk guidebook, but then they all have like their little entry. So I will go in and read the entry and look at the keywords at the front. Where the hell is the ragwort? Here it is. Jeez Louise. So being restricted by one's regret. And so then I'll read that and try to put together what's here, the keywords here, and then go into the other book, read that, and then try to pick the most relevant keywords that make the most sense to me and what I want to see when I look at the card. So I try to fold in like if it aligns with my view of the plant. So it's the climb, you know, it's ivy, so that works. Don't give up. I really like that one. And we have tenacity, patience, and perseverance. So I think those are really perfect for this card, and they're, you know, they're not intruding on the imagery, which I really appreciate because the imagery is so nice. Like I would hate to just have like scrawled, you know, keywords on there. Granted, my handwriting is not always the best. It doesn't always work out, but you know, I try. Mischief. Yeah, I like this Elder card a lot. But yeah, it's a really great deck for pairing. I'm definitely taking too long on each of these decks, but anywho, yeah, this is, I gotta finish it. I gotta do the rest of these cards that don't have any keywords on them. I have to finish it off. It's not even that many. Whoa, I haven't done Willow. See, we need to correct that as soon as possible. I need to do all of these. Oh, and I'm so excited. So then when I'm finished, I plan on finishing it for spring, which is right around the corner. So we'll definitely have to finish this ASAP-a-rooney, okay? So I'm going to need y'all to hold me accountable. So if you see me out here and you don't see this deck in upcoming videos, I'm not talking about how I'm working with it, then you need to call me out. Because then I'm, you know, then I'm out here telling, I'm fibbing to y'all, which, you know, we don't want that. Anyway, I'm just kidding, but kind of not. I'm trying to finish working on this deck and start working with it in spring, because it's the perfect spring deck. You know, I usually don't work like seasonally like that, but it's a spring deck. It's a spring deck, you know. And maybe summer, spring and summer, definitely spring and summer. Next deck is quite dark, so if you're not into dark stuff. This is not the time for you. The next deck is the Goetia Tarot in Darkness. Freaking stunning deck. Kind of hard to read because it's so dark. But so I'll probably have to hold them in a certain angle because my lights are going to be like, hello. Yeah, so this is a deck of demons. And I have worked with this deck a little bit here and there. I think it is a freaking stunning collection of artwork. So at the end of the day, if it's just that, it's just that. But I don't want it to be just that. I want to work with these demons, okay? And I don't know why I'm saying it like that. I'm trying to sound, different. But yeah, I have done some work with them. So I have worked with them, and because of this year, like I said, is a moon year for me, there's a lot of darkness and shadow going on. So that's reflected in this deck and the next deck especially. And so I really want to develop a deeper relationship with the deck, explore different ways of working with it, and really understand my relationship to these entities and how I would like to work with them overall. So yeah, the Goetia Tarot in Darkness is one. I've considered getting the Notoria deck as well. I haven't because I feel like I don't want to get the other deck until this deck is really solidified in my practice. And I'm just more drawn to this deck in the first place, which is why it's the one that I have. I think the other deck is also beautiful, but I need to re-edge this deck. At the time I didn't have black, so I just did a gray so it wouldn't be white, but maybe it's not too bad. But I think it might be bad. I want to do black. But the artwork, as I said, it's stunning. But I have very bright lights on right now. It is not that bright if you have regular lights on in your house. So, but I think that adds to it. I think that makes it really interesting to work with. So this deck has it has the seal, and then it has the number in the Lesser Key of Solomon that you can find this entity in. Excuse me, sorry, I bumped the table. Then it has their name, the number, and suit. So you have the Four of Pentacles here. We have the astrology, and I guess there's like a traditional association as well. I'm not exactly sure. I would have to actually double check on that. But yeah, that's generally how the cards are set up. I don't really read it as tarot. I tend to work with the entity and look up the entity and learn about them and go from there. But yeah, I find this deck extremely stunning, compelling, and like it's calling for a deeper level of work. Wow, this card is really intense. And it's definitely drawing me in. So we'll have to put that off to the side. But yeah, I mean, look at the light. These are really incredible depictions. So grateful for this deck. Actually, I've had kind of amazing results with it. With some work that I've done. So yeah, looking forward to more work with the Goetia. And I love the box. I wish more decks would have a box like this instead of, Liminal 11. If you want to have boxes that open up, vertically, this is the way to go. None of that flappy box inside of a box business, okay? Just do this. Look at that, There's usually a book in here, but it's downstairs in my drawer, which is where this deck usually is. But yeah, take notes. Liminal 11. I'm not trying to be rude and call you out, but just genuinely serious. Like, your decks are really difficult to work with the boxes. So just, try something like this for the future. All right, we have our last deck, and it is the Lantern Oracle. As I said, with the moon, we are really in the shadow, which has been fun. It's been so fun. No, I'm just joking around. It's been kind of amazing. Really cool. Really, really cool. I've just been exploring this deck, just kind of looking through it, pairing it up, playing with it. Gosh, why? This is what I mean. These decks are so hard to grab a card. Jeez Louise, it kind of annoys the heck out of me, the Blue Angel. Blue Angel decks. Like, they're beautiful, but also slightly less matte would just be really helpful to be able to, peel them apart and just feel like they're not like extremely, they're too thick to me. I think they're too big and too thick, but that's just my opinion as a person with small hands. Like, this deck is just, it's so big to me. Anyway, but I find, speaking about the deck itself, let's get into the deck itself. I find the images, the keywords, and keywords, key phrases, and the little messages at the bottom extremely insightful. And the few times that I have, like I said, just sort of played around with the deck and just paired it around and just kind of went through it, just gaining a sense of how it reads, the messages that it has to offer, the way that it communicates, has been really interesting. I'm going to be honest, I've been a little bit hesitant to work with it because although it's not really like in your face, for example, it's still very, very, very deep. And it definitely calls for a sense of readiness and an openness, not only to the messages, but also openness to feel. Openness to feel what comes up for you. And so I think that's been a reason why I really want to work with it, because that's something that I'm trying to work on recently, is just being more available for my emotions. I think I'm fairly open as it is. It's not like I'm against having, an emotional response to something or letting my emotions, be released as they come. But at the same time, I think there are some blockages. Like, I can just tell. I'm not exactly sure what they are, but I can just feel them, and I know that they're there. And I really want to open myself up to a deeper level of feeling and a more availability for them to also be seen. I think there's, a part of me that has probably closed up so much that it's unfamiliar to me now. I don't know. But yeah, definitely looking forward to working with this deck. I'd be definitely curious if you all have worked with it. How have you worked with it? What methods, do you do, if that makes sense? Of course, pairings would also be lovely. I wonder if I have any pairings written in the box here. Okay, so we have Tongues of the Mother, and Remembering the Sweet Fool apparently was really wonderful, so I recently did that. Yeah. And this is what I've been working on also. Surrender has been really, really tough. So, as I'm saying, this is literally what I'm talking about. Surrendering to the feelings, surrendering to expression, surrendering to forces that are beyond my control. There's definitely a grip that I have that I want to release. So I think this deck would be really great for helping me to see what it is and work on it, release it, unlock it, if you will. So I'm really, 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 really excited. I love the artwork. I have, like I said, I have not worked with it that much, but I have this insane love for this deck. Before I've even fully, I remember getting this card. It's an experience, yeah. You know what? Let's pull a card from this one. So we pulled a Beyond Lemuria. Not me trying to freaking riffle shuffle this deck, and I can't. Okay, so I'm gonna cut, and we're going to just pull a quick card from the lantern, especially based on everything I just said. Maybe a little message for us as well. Of course, the Weeping Freaking Wound. You are not your wounds. Okay, maybe a reason why I don't allow myself. I think this happens a lot with grief and emotion, is that I block myself from feeling the emotion because I feel like it might take over, like it might kill me, which I know is not true, especially as I've, as I've done more work with grief in general. But yeah, I want to read a little bit from the guidebook. Oh yeah, and I forgot, this deck is separated into Maiden, Mother, and Crone. So, oh wait, Maiden, Mother, Guardian, and Crone. So that's really cool. I love that. So for the Weeping Wound, it says, healing happens as our wounds receive sufficient attention, treatment, and expression. Wounds stop bleeding once the pain has been known and released. This needs to occur on emotional, psychological, physical, and spiritual level. Until then, no scar tissue can begin to form, leaving our wounds exposed to infection. The maiden remains a prisoner to her pain. Her wounds bleed over her potential, voice, perception, and present. She has shown up to support you through a time of safely addressing whatever wounds still bleed over your life. Perhaps you find yourself in a toxic relationship, being mistreated or taken advantage of by your family, friends, or those in your workplace. Okay. Alternatively, it could be that you experience ongoing money issues, challenges with addiction, or never feeling sufficiently acknowledged, heard, or regarded. Give yourself permission to prioritize tending to whatever outstanding core wounds and false beliefs you have with love and light. Shower your wounded maiden self with compassion. Listen to her without judgment. Validate the tears she cries. Feel with her. Access your inherent nurturing and protective mother, guardian, and crone capacity to do this. Assure your wounded maiden self that she is no longer alone with her pain. Form a support network with a loved one, a safe friend, a healing professional, or a mental health expert, perhaps all four. Allow them to bear witness to your story. Often, expressing the depths of our pain to another frees us to experience life beyond hurt and horror. To have another bear witness to the injured parts of ourselves has the power to release us from the unbearable pain and heal. Once enough scar tissue has formed, wounds can stop opening up in the present to hurt us all over again. Having drawn this card may also signify a time of being called on to support someone by bearing witness to their core wounds. So the maiden's message is as follows. You are so much more than your wounds. It is never too late to grow beyond them. It is always possible to access the rest of your life without them bleeding over it. We must feel, express, and release our way through our pain. There are no shortcuts, but once it is thoroughly done, it is done. It is hard work over an intense period that takes you as long as it takes. Once complete, the insights, peace, light, love, and liberation of being on the other side of your wounds will transform you in unimaginable ways. Your once greatest hurt has the potential to become your greatest power, if and only if you show up for whatever it takes to complete the process. I really love that. What really stuck out to me is this: we must all feel, express, and release our way through our pain. There are no shortcuts, but once it is thoroughly done, it is done. And what it also said here was, wounds stop bleeding once the pain has been known and released. This needs to occur on an emotional, psychological, physical, and spiritual level. What really sticks out to me from that is I do feel like there's definitely a lot of it on the body level, because I think it's really easy to do like the spiritual level, the emotional level, but especially with my knowledge of like dance movement therapy, movement is in a really powerful way to express and to release memories, emotions through movement and postures of your body. And so I find that is a really powerful thing, and I think physically is an avenue that will allow me to sort of unlock. So yeah, that's there we go. So that would be really fun. And on the bottom of the deck, we have Strength of Vulnerability. The power lies at the root of perceived weakness. So it says that your greatest pain can end up being your greatest power. So thank you so much, Lantern Oracle. Thank you to you for watching. I'm so glad to have you here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I always love hearing from y'all. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are, whatever you're up to. Know that you are loved, supported, held up. Allow yourself to be seen. And we're just so happy you're here. So with that being said, I will see you in my next video. Bye.